I hope this communique finds you well. I'm in the process of writing a new book. In fact, I'm not writing it, I'm writing it with a whole bunch of people. So I'm editing my first book. I'd love you to consider being a part of this process. I want to make it really easy for you to be a part of the journey. So I've created a very structured template for each chapter, which only requires several questions to be addressed with, 150, 200 words, thereabouts. So there's a bit of reflection required for each question and then documenting where you're actually at with it as opposed to going off and doing research. I really want to understand where you're at. My motivation for this project is that even though we've got lots and lots of new entrepreneurship books coming onto the market, it's actually quite difficult to get a sense of who are the types of people that are writing about their thinking. What type of contexts are actually being discussed? What type of approaches and how might they relate to what we're doing? So my motivation here is to use common language across a range of contexts. So we've got primary schools, we've got high schools, we've got further education or vocational education or college education, we've got tertiary education, universities, we've got adult education. So we've got 5 very distinct contexts which occur globally. And I want us to be able to use a common language. So students, outcomes, roles, rules, tools, culture. Those 6 words to be able to describe simply what it is you're doing using these common languages to be able to convey the nature of your journey. Where did you come from? How did you get into entrepreneurship or enterprise education? What do you think of the challenges? What advice would you give to other people? I'm going to ask for some additional information for those who decide that they would like to contribute. Not a lot, it's most probably going to be less than a page of information, but it will relate to sort of a qualitative way of thinking about scholarship, teaching and learning. And in a lot of ways what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help us to understand where are things similar and where are things different in our contexts. I want us to be able to celebrate our similarities and our diversities. Okay? And in doing this, I want this book to be something that anyone could pick up. So whether they're reading about someone who does something in primary school education, or they're picking up and reading about a chapter from someone in adult education or something in between, they can get a sense of what other people in our field believe is good practice. So there's no effort here at all to think about trying to identify best practice. Just in your context, given who you are and where you're going and how you're trying to help your students, what constitutes good practice? And I think if we can take the time to appreciate and understand what good practice means in a range of different contexts, but using a common language to communicate it, I'm hoping that this book could have a really neat impact in trying to bring about a global view of all the different levels of education, but using a common language. So that's the big trick that this book's trying to pull off. It's trying to actually see if we can get people to talk about what they're doing, but using a common language. It's never been done before. If you look at the chapters across these types of books, there's great work in there. It's fantastic work in there. But the chapters don't sing from the same hymn sheet. They're not written so that there's a consistency, that we could move between chapters understanding exactly the same questions that are being asked of people across different contexts. So, I hope that you will consider being a part of this. I promise this, I'll make it very easy for you to contribute. I've got a structured template that only needs to have the questions under the headings that are already there addressed. You don't need to do any editing. You just simply need to reflect on what it is you're doing and why you're doing it and how you might be able to offer some advice to other people. I'm looking for a 3-month time window, so between now and the end of August. It's about a 2,500 word chapter, but easily written with the guidance that I'm providing with you with, okay? and maybe a page or so of additional information that I'll ask for you, so that at the end of each section, primary schools, high schools, tertiary education, adult education, I can bring together a more insightful commentary around the contributors to that section by understanding a little bit more of the backstory of their Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So there's the invitation. I'm looking forward to getting a reply from you in my inbox saying, let's do it, and then we can talk further. But the information that I've sent out with this accompanying video by email is more than enough to give you a sense of what it is that I'm trying to invite you to be a part of. I hope you are. I really want to find 20 educators from all around the world across these 5 different contexts who can use a common language and a common set of questions to reflect on what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. Hope to talk to you further soon.